Mars and Beyond is the most fanciful of all the Tomorrowland shows dealing with space travel, beginning with the robot who introduces Walt Disney. It also features one of the funniest cartoon segments the studio ever did, a spoof of Pulp Fiction-style sci-fi of the period. Ward Kimball was justly proud of this sequence. But the program offers a wide spectrum of animation, from the whimsical to the serious, making wonderful use of abstract design and movement to depict the evolution of planet Earth and show the passage of time. Then, scientific representational art shows us the living conditions on the various planets in our solar system. Finally, we embark on a speculative trip to Mars and learn all that will entail. There's more animation in this episode than any other. Perhaps that's why it was also the costliest of the Man in Space series. As with the other shows, this one looks backward as well as forward, taking us to the days of cave dwellers who first began to notice patterns in the skies, and then sending us soaring into the future. It's an incredibly varied, intelligent, and densely packed program. It also serves as a showcase for the extraordinary vocal talents of Paul Frees, who provides not only the narration, but every character voice you hear, from the crabby old man who believes in weather superstitions to Aristotle and Ptolemy. Frees was a Disney favorite who provided the voice of Ludwig von Drake, among others. You can still hear his voice at Disneyland if you visit the Haunted Mansion. Mars and Beyond made its television debut on December 4th, 1957, and was released as a 49-minute theatrical featurette on December 26th of the same year.
Walt Disney's Disneyland.
When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are.
Each week as you enter this timeless land, one of these many worlds will open to you. Frontierland. Tall tales and true from the legendary past. Tomorrowland. Promise of things to come. Adventureland, the wonder world of nature's own realm. Fantasyland, the happiest kingdom of them all. Presenting this week,
Ladies and gentlemen, here is your host, Walt Disney.
Thank you, Garco. In this exciting age when everyone seems to be talking about the future possibilities of space travel, there's much speculation on what we will discover when we visit other worlds. Will we find planets with only a low form of vegetable life, or will there be mechanical robots controlled by super intelligent beings? One of the most fascinating fields of modern science deals with the possibility of life on other planets. This is our story.
In the beginning, man's world was his cave. His only concern was for food and companionship. With the sun came the day, bringing warmth and light. With the stars came the night, bringing darkness and fear. Later, when man became a shepherd, he spent more time contemplating the mystery of the stars. Because they moved, he believed them to be living things, possibly the children of the moon breaking away when the moon grew smaller. Then he noticed the reappearance of star formations he had seen before. Where had they come from, and where were they going? An important discovery. The stars fell into the sea. Man's conception of his world had expanded. The earth was an island floating in water, circled by a glittering ring of heavenly objects. As man learned to till the soil, he associated the stars with events of good and evil. When the bull was in the heavens, he planted his crops. This was good. Aquarius, the water carrier, brought the rains. This was also good. With the Virgin of the harvest, the crops were gathered. This was very good. But Draco the dragon brought pestilence and famine. This was evil. Then man began to build cities with towers to bring him closer to the heavens. Man became an astronomer. He sought a more logical explanation for the earth and the heavens above. The earth, he thought, must be flat with its roots deep in celestial waters. In time, he changed the roots to stone pillars to afford easier passage for the stars in their nightly journey. Later, elephants were substituted because of their great strength. To support the elephants, he added a gigantic tortoise who pulled the universe through cosmic waters with infinite slowness. The Egyptians, who loved to draw, represented Earth as a reclining figure with a star-filled sky bending over the top. Shu, the god of air, kept them apart, while the sun and the moon sailed back and forth in a small boat. The Greeks were among the first learned men of astronomy. These great philosophers gave the world many profound conceptions of Earth and space. Plato said, "I have found the Earth to be the perfect shape of a cube, standing in the center of the universe, with all other heavenly bodies scattered round and about." Anaxagoras had this to say, "Being in the center of the universe, the Earth is assailed by the rotating ether, which tears away bits of Earth, flinging them outward, setting them afire, creating stars and planets." Then there was Aristarchus.
Gentlemen, I disagree. The sun is obviously in the center, with the Earth and other planets traveling in circular paths. And thus the sun...
Finally, there was Ptolemy.
Learned men of science, I have listened to all your arguments. I now decree that our great Earth stands immovable as the hub of the universe, the supreme center of intelligent thinking.
Thus, Ptolemy's decree was blindly accepted as the law of science for over 1,000 years. Free and logical thought was stifled by a blank period of stupidity, superstition, and sorcery. With the Renaissance came a learned monk, Nicholas Copernicus. He proved mathematically that the Earth was not the center of the universe, but was merely one of many planets circling the glowing sun. In 1610, Galileo published his Sidereus Nuncius, in which he vividly described the wonders of the heavens as seen through that great new invention, the telescope. The planets were not spots of light, but were spheres like the Earth. Jupiter had belts of color. Venus had phases like the moon. Saturn had a gorgeous ring, and Mars was round and red. People began to speculate about life on other worlds. One of the first to describe people of other planets was the romantic Frenchman, Bernard de Fontenelle. While walking with a young lady in a garden, he discusses with her the possibility of life on other worlds. She is delighted with the prospect of learning astronomy.
The sun is a boiling ball of liquid gold. The inhabitants cannot see these riches. They are blind. Mercury is so close to the sun that the people are crazy with the heat. Venus is the planet of passion. People do not cook because they live on air, music, and love. The men of Saturn are very cold and miserable. They never move from the spot where they are born. Jupiter is so big that people never see or meet other people. Mars is very populated with luminous birds who do not fly.
In Sweden, a philosopher's conception of life in our solar system revealed that the people of Mercury are very thin. They have tremendous memories. Their cattle are extremely small. The natives of Jupiter are pretty. They do not lie or steal, but they are terrified at the sight of their giant Jupiter-type horses. There are two kinds of people on Venus: mild people and fierce people. Inhabitants of Mars are clothed in fibers. They converse by means of thought transference. During the 19th century, Mars was more and more regarded as the planet most likely to harbor life, especially when astronomers thought they saw specks of light appear on the surface of the red planet. Many people believed that these were attempts to signal the Earth, and immediately plans were laid to build a gigantic mirror to return the friendly greetings. Later, Kurt Laswitz thrilled the world with his story about a crew of Earthmen who are captured by a magnetic Martian spaceship. The Earthmen are taken to Mars, where they are wined and dined on synthetic food. In a story by Robert Brain called Messages from Mars, a sailor is marooned on a lonely island off Madagascar. He discovers a rare and powerful telescope planet, which he immediately focuses on Mars. The Martians he sees are exactly 10 feet tall. Their favorite culture is music, which they inhale in great quantities through their noses. As the 20th century dawned, H.G. Wells excited countless imaginations with his approach to life on Mars. In his War of the Worlds, he describes an invasion of the Earth by octopus-like creatures who are encased in giant fighting machines. With their heat rays and poisonous gases, they are quite invincible until they encounter the common germs in our atmosphere. Wells followed his science fiction story with a more serious discussion. He reasoned that plants would grow taller and thinner in the weaker gravity of Mars, and insects would probably be larger than those on Earth. The Martian animals, covered with fur or feathers during winter, would lose